It's a real pleasure to have a true pioneer of the iGaming industry here with me today. And today I would like to talk about, much talked imposed regulations and the future of the iGaming as such, due to COVID-19 pandemic. But let's start with the recent events in Sweden. And, after Swedish authorities decided to impose emergency restrictions. So just is there any ideologically driven political crusade against the gambling in Sweden? Or do you think it's just, current agenda of certain politicians?
No. I think historically there has been quite strong links between gaming and the political agenda, and even the largest party, Socialdemokraterna, has their own lottery. So they are very well aware about gambling. They're also owners of Svenska Spel, the state, and they have big influence in ATG. So no, they definitely know what gambling is about. But no, this is more of a personal agenda from one minister, I would say, that's trying to make some political points during the COVID-19 and come out as a strong politician. And problem is that we are a scrutinized industry, and no one is stepping up to defend us. There are no points to win to defend gambling. So yeah, I think this is just a political whim, to be honest.
Yeah, but do you think that in the long term, the Kärrbrink's decision will eventually, result in operators leaving the market?
Yeah. No, that's actually the risk here. What he's doing is he makes. I think we have a perfect regulation in Sweden right now with Spelpaus and a very good and hard-working regulator in SGA. So. And I think everyone was pleased with this. The tax levels are okay. Regulation is okay. It's definitely there to help the vulnerable players, etc., etc. And you need to have a balance. We should also remember that there are no more problematic gamblers this year or this time now than it was like 30 years ago, because this has been measured for so long time, and it's approximately 2%. If anything, it's fewer today, and still we have more games and we have more opportunity to gamble, etc., etc. So there's really no link. It seems that if you're at risk, you are at risk, and you will find you gambling, even if it was like just lotteries and some sports betting back in the early 90s, and now you have everything. So no, I think this will drive, to answer your question, this will drive some of the operators to leave Sweden. So because it feels like they are kind of closing down the opportunities, and this will of course open up for the black market, and in that case risk to destroy a very good regulation.
Exactly, and there arises the question: is enough being done to stop unlicensed operators?
No. I mean, if you look at Norway is really good at that one. Their regulator is basically chasing and haunting non-regulated operators in a way that never been done in Sweden. It wasn't done before when you only had the Svenska Spel and ATG, and it's not done now either, and it's perhaps not their job to do either. I don't really know, but no one is really chasing as I can see, there are no legislation to make it more difficult for the black operators, and we see now the canalization is going down. You can see how search terms for unregulated operators and search terms for Spel regulators without Spelpaus, etc., is increasing. So if you look at the data, I think it's a borderline now to whether they will be able to continue the canalization, which is a clever strategy. Canalization is a good thing. Canalize back the gambling and to operators that are regulated. Put restrictions, or put demands on those operators to have very high standards of responsible gaming, have scanning programs that detect players that are at risk, and make sure that you're not sending commercials to these players, etc., making sure that all the operators are following the rules for advertising, etc. This is important, and I'm a bit afraid that those decisions might jeopardize the development of this, and we will see operators leaving.
And I also would like to touch, the base on the stigma of gambling as such. What the industry can really do to improve its image, because, for example, in the UK, they won't let you to market, the gambling under 25s, but paradoxically, you can join the army, you can pay the taxes, you can drive, etc. So there arises this, the huge paradox, which is more like a society problem, I would say. But the question is how the iGaming companies can react or get debate going on without looking like they try to take advantage or look cynical.
No, but this is difficult because we know that we have players that are vulnerable, that shouldn't play, and they're still playing. And we also know that it's not the entire population that playing slots and casinos, and these are the most stigmatized products today. And I mean, we have other vices and consumption that creates as much harm or more harm than gambling, and still they are accepted by society because everyone are drinking wine and having a beer on Fridays, etc., etc. So it's common, and so we will always have this where the elite kind of looks down to this industry. And we have to live with that. But I think we could do a lot of things. We should, of course, embrace regulation. We should, of course, embrace responsible gaming. We should not try to get out the last penny out of some of the players. We should have our checks and balances in place. That's extremely important. But then I also think we need to act outside the industry and showing that we are good people. And I don't know what that could be. It could be help the environment. We could have an iGaming initiative for the environment, etc., to show that we care. We are caring people. I mean, this is a professional industry today with a lot of intelligent people trying to do good. And we see this as entertainment, whether it's Netflix or the movies or a concert or playing some games. This is entertainment. Yeah. And it's attracting a lot of talented people. And so I think over time, we will see change the industry. We will do more and more clever things, and we will talk more and more about this. But at the same time, it's easy to stigmatize this industry because all the companies are making quite some money, and there will always be a small part of the 2% of the population will have problems with gambling. And of course, a large part of that ends up in the casinos. It goes without saying. I mean, whatever. I mean, you will find the drunks in the bar. It goes without saying. You will find the problematic gamblers in the casino. So yes, but I think we have done a lot of good things in building this software, like the Green Gaming tool and PlayScan with Svenska Spel, etc., and a lot of other things. And I know Be Better is doing the affordability check in UK. This is an amazing product. So we are on the right track, and we just have to push this out.
Mm. And in these challenging times, obviously in the COVID-19, we have very long impacts on the market. So what do you think are going to be those biggest? And for example, will it push the land-based operators to invest more in online?
Yes, I mean for me that's a given one. We saw this big merger today announced potential merger between Evolution and NetEnt, and I really hope it goes through because it's from a business perspective, it's a brilliant move. It's perfect for Evolution but one of the I shouldn't say reasons because I don't know the reasons in full, but one of the upsides for Evolution is that they are also getting two legs to stand on. They will be less vulnerable for the next COVID-19. With having RNG games as well that is played without that much people involved, and the same goes with the physical and the physical casinos. I assume that there are some strategic talks now in the larger land-based casino groups on how to accelerate the online business out of this, and perhaps I think we will see some merger and acquisitions going through here. It makes sense, and for me, it also makes sense that. In the gaming industry, this is a business of scale. So the bigger you are, the more money you will make, and without needing to push and push and push. So, and that goes also for operators. So I think the industry are in and will be in a state of consolidation for quite some long time going forward.
Yeah. And talking about these acquisitions, it could be a very tricky situation because sometimes these, the land-based operators, they try when they invest in online, they try to apply the same strategies or same policies, as they were operating in a land-based operation. So what would be actually your advice for the land-based operators who are getting in online business? Because, I see from my experience that it can be tricky and can be messy,
Yes.
to get through the land-based to online.
I mean, all acquisitions and all mergers are tricky and can be messy. So you're absolutely right, and especially when you go from two cultures like land-based and online, which is too I mean, I've been in both, so I know it's a different mindset, so to speak. But I think what you do is that you find a really good management and really good people running the online part as the online part, and you have the same on the land-based part. And then when you think that and we feel you have everything under control, you start finding the synergies. And the synergies here will most likely be on the customer side to some extent, and on the branding side and so forth. So I think you take it step by step, and you leave them as being two different divisions to start with. And then once again trying to find the synergies, which there will be some, absolutely, but not as much then as if you merge two online companies. There will probably be more synergies in that one, but still, that's not the reason why a land-based company or land-based casino is buying an online casino. It's not to get the synergies. That will be a nice side effect, I would say.
Exactly. And talking also about the games, itself, there are so many opinions about the slots had their day already,
Yeah, I'm one of them. I'm one of them. And no, slots has not had their day. Slots will have a brilliant futures for years to come. We know that people love to play slots, and we continue loving playing slots, but it's a rather limited market. And if we look at the next generation, I'm not 100% sure that generation will step into playing slots, because they are used to such a different gaming experience with much more depth and interaction. So I think if we want to continue having this position, we need to develop a bit more advanced game. Like we in Green Jade, we are developing the arcade games, which is casino games with the same math as a slot, but we're also entering a skill element in this one where you can play match-free or a first-person shooter. We don't do this because we want the slots player to stop playing slots. No. There will always be a slots player, but then we could have a broader audience. And then we come back to one of your first questions. The more people we have playing on the online casinos, the less stigmatized it will be. So if we can broaden the entertainment, and this is a good thing where the live casinos is coming in, especially what Evolution is doing with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and Monopoly and things like that. They are entertaining, and what do you call it in English? They are turning this live casino into entertainment, and with entertainment and not just hardcore blackjack and roulette. That then comes a broader audience, and with a broader audience comes a larger understanding in society that this is actually something good, and this is actually something that is entertainment. So I think I might be like Don Quixote running around and telling that everyone should play the arcade game, but looking at it from a logic perspective, it's the right way to go. We have to go there eventually, and we are trying to do it. But once again, to cover our bases, we are of course developing slots as well. I mean, because there's a huge market for it, and
I think there's have to be like the smart balance, but where the games combine the chance with the skill.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you do that, and casino is not only slots. We have live, we have sports betting, we have bingo. And bingo is attracting a certain amount of players, and they have poker. That's a bit of a skill, etc., etc. So I think there's an opportunity also for this mix of RNG and skill.
And talking about those younger players, they're talking about the Millennials players, from maybe for sure from your experience from the past years, even with the Jade Games, what actually how they differ from the older generation players, in the gameplay.
I mean, they are grown up with so much depth in their games. There's always some cognitive challenge. You can learn. It's also a learning curve. You always start in a game and you're quite bad, and then you get better and better and better. And we know that is one of the strongest driving forces to do something. I mean, we have millions of people playing, I don't know, paddle, tennis, piano, guitar, singing, for no other reasons than they like it, because they feel they are improving themselves all the time. And they will never be rock stars. They will never be world championships in tennis, etc., etc. But they are getting a bit better every time. And that is also what you see in these games that these kids or this generation is playing. They want more back from the game than just an excitement in did I win or lose? Did I win or lose? That's an important part. But if they could also add some cognitive skill into this, I think they will play those games a bit more. I think so.
Okay.
And then we can also make the game a bit safer. We can make them a bit slower. We can make them spend the money a bit slower, and they can run it for a bit longer time, etc., etc. So there's a lot of good upsides on this.
Mm-hmm. So in overall, there has to be more the activity than the passivity. We can say,
yeah. I mean, look at the kids today. They aren't still and you're probably in that generation as well. They're not sitting still for many minutes today. And sorry, I didn't. Yeah. So.
I'm already 30, so I'm the like I'm old.
You grew up.
Oldest generation of millennials. Let's say like this.
Exactly. The first millennial. That's true.
Yeah. But let's talk about crypto for a second. So we witnessed the rise of the crypto casinos in the last years. I mean, it's very clear. It's a dominating niche. So do you see the cryptocurrencies having a serious impact on iGaming?
I wouldn't say an impact. I see that as another currency. I see that this is another way to launch your casino. I know that the Coin Gaming Group is doing this fantastically well, and they have players from both sides. They have players actually depositing normal currencies like euros and dollars, and perhaps not dollars, but euros and euros. And also they have the coin gaming or the crypto currencies. And I see that as another currency. It's we call it crypto casinos, but basically, they have focused on that currency. It's like having a casino for for the Swedish krona. That works as well. Sorry for the ping here.
No, don't worry. I mean, I can imagine that you're busy, even during Corona, so it's like.
Yeah, sure. But no. So I think there's definitely a position for the cryptocurrencies. For the crypto casinos, and they have been doing a really good job in developing some exciting games as well, like the Crash and Crash games and things like that. So I would say that they are pushing the industry in the same way as a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm. And my very last question would be, in these challenging times, what advice would you give to the leaders who are looking for to keep their companies motivated and growing?
This is a tricky one because a lot of the regular and the old school leadership philosophies are kind of thrown out the back door right now. But I still believe that communicate, and dare to communicate about small details, dare to step up on videos and share, because we also know that the more far away you are from the office, the more worried you can get when something gets a bit in the wrong way and you hear things, etc., etc. So I think communication is key. Communication is always key. My national style has always been communication and walk around and speak to people and talk to people and greet them and so forth. And this is impossible now, which means that I spend so much more time on all the different social media channels. I'm calling people, texting them, really being there you have to try to be there without being there. You have to try to be seen without seeing them. It's super difficult, but once again, the only way to do this is to communicate and find the ways to reach those players and those employees. And once again, I think in this time you should tell a bit more than less in this.
Exactly.
So that's my advice. Yeah.
Jesper, I think that's the wrap. We have it. So I really appreciate that you spend this time with us, and I appreciate you share with us your thoughts and opinions, and we will get through this crisis together, right? And we will.
No, we will. Everyone will. I mean, we absolutely, as an industry, we stand strong. I really want to say that we done the industry has done a lot of really good things. So, and thanks for having me here, and I really appreciate the talk and the questions.
Wonderful. Have a nice day, Jesper.
And the same to you. See you. Bye bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.